losing evaporation. We're raised beds, so the, you can see it, here's the tube going through that waters. And all the stuff on the raised bed is to keep the ground squirrels out, their nest. When we did our landscaping, we found a person who knew about native plants for the area. We do not have a lawn. We kept with organic material and natives and low water plants because we know that's one of the things that's coming with climate change. So these are a few of the plants we have around. And we're doing pretty good. We compete with the deer a little bit.
Quick question.
Yes.
How about forest fire danger or being in an area where it could possibly become dangerous?
We have the metal roof and the stucco. Okay. And then county code requires a defensible space. So we have a 100-foot defensible space that had to be cleared before they gave us any permits to build. So we don't really have a lot of trees right around the house. We are working on taking that 100 feet and making it back further, so there's certain things we'll clear out. And then we chip it so we don't have to have those fires that are causing nastiness around.
Did you check on fireproof plants to put in there?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Because that makes a big difference.
Right. The planting did consider deer, water, and fire. When we did that. Okay, so the active solar system, we started with the 8 or 10 panels. We bought a plug-in hybrid, so we put 2 more on, hoping to offset that. We haven't noticed, we think we're doing pretty good, but we're not really at net zero where we want to be. These are the hot, for the hot water, the 2 that are a little different. When people talk about things to do for energy conservation, heating your water is one of the most cost-effective. I forgot you've got some time with it too. One thing we got points for with Earth Advantage, our bonus points, is a certified master home builder, and we really felt this paid off in a lot. So this is Steve Asher. He knows a lot about green construction, and we were really pleased with what he was able to do. This is yours.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. How many panels did you have up there? I missed that.
12 now.
12.
We have 12 now.
All right.
I was talking to somebody earlier. Our daughter who lives in Tucson, they are just on the edge of going solar. And their consultant is telling them they need 40 panels. Which is just like, we're thinking, sir. I'm sorry? So this is, one of the nice things about the solar system is we're linked with the web, and it's called Enphase. And so we can keep a check on what our panels are doing. This I just snagged this later in the evening, so they're not putting out very much power.
Would it take that much to grow pot, all those panels?
We haven't thought about that. This is what it looks like if you get the day's pattern. Not surprising, he starts up in the morning very little and it peaks. So this is our overall output, and you can see we're getting up close to 21, I think that's 2100 watts output per during the course of the day. Is that 24? 24. I can't see it from over here. Okay, thank you for helping me out. That's what it looks like if you take a 7-day look, and nice little pattern. And the nice thing about this is you can actually get onto this from a smartphone a long way away. So if we're in Arizona visiting the family and we check in, we can find out if our panels are still working. This is what it looks like from the beginning. And I'm going to tell you, what happened here is this is when it was installed, and then this is when it was turned on. So this was during construction. This was a strange little period here. We actually were visiting Molly and Joe and that nasty snow fall? You remember in December we got a lot of snow?
Not this year.
It was back in, what, 2013? And what happened was we have this protection device on the roof, and the snow slid down the roof and turned the panels off. And Sierra, our solar guy, came in and he tied the knob back up so it didn't do it again. And now they don't need that knob anymore. That was just a way to protect the firefighters if we had a fire, to turn the whole solar system off. So that's just some nice pictures to show you what we're getting. Where are we on our goal? We have not achieved net zero. But from April through November, our electricity bill is the basic cost of being hooked to the grid, and I'm going to show you the cost in just a moment. For that period of time, we're paying no more than service costs. And here we go. This is our electricity bill. And this period of time, you say, wow, $69. That's awfully high. Well, that's what we thought. And that was because our panels were turned off. There was a problem, and they were turned off for about 2 weeks for that month. But still, we only whacked up $69 in bills. You can see for that period of time, we're basically just paying the service fee. During 2.5 years, we've added a couple of panels, and I've shown you that. We also purchased, Kathy mentioned this, our plug-in hybrid, which starts to suck a bit of juice overnight. We also bought an energy-efficient freezer, and you might have noticed that in the utility room next to the water heating system. So now, we may be, if we put 2 more panels on, we think we'd probably be there. Not sure we're going to do it, because we've got other projects going on, but we might do that. Currently, net metering is in effect in Oregon, which is good, because it does mean you can just generate power and pump it back into the grid and suck it from the grid when you need it. There is a bill before the Senate, before the legislature. It's got a legislative council number at the moment, and that's going to extend the feed-in tariff. And the feed-in tariff is where you actually get a check from the utility company for the power you pump into the grid. So that's a good idea. That helps people who are making more than they use. This is a nice little bar chart. And the basic rule of thumb here is when the red bar tops the blue bar, we're actually pumping energy into the grid. And you can see, consistent with the bills that I was showing you, April through November. And of course, we build up over here, so we still get a very small bill here because we're just using up what we assigned to the grid during the summer. So we're really not behind for many months in the year. Is it all cheap? Big question people ask. The range, I think the range, square foot range for building a house these days is somewhere between 80 and 200 feet. So sure, we are at the upper end of the range square foot charge for building a house.
Can I add something up?
Yes.
When you build a small house versus a big house, your per square foot is more, because there's certain expenses you're going to have that are going to be constant no matter what size house you have. So when the square footage is less, that kind of concentrates those expenses. So part of that is size of house.
That's a good point. Thank you for thinking that one through. The big key is operation is cheaper, and you saw that from the utility bill. Depending on how long you own the house, of course, that's going to depend on whether you reap the rewards of spending the extra amount of money.
The payback.
I'm sorry?
The payback.
That's the payback, right. The question everybody has to ask themselves, I submit, is how large a footprint do you want to exert on the planet? And so this is, for us, it really came down not to can we save money, but what are our values? And that's, I think, a critical question. And this is the long-term question. Do you want your grandchildren to enjoy a livable planet or not? And if you want them to enjoy a livable planet, I submit, each of us has to do whatever we can do to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. Now, I promised you at the beginning I was going to show you a bit about if you were remodeling, and that's where I'm going to go now. This is the pyramid I mentioned. We got this from Clean Energy Works. If you know Ben Scott works for Clean Energy Works, and what they do is help people, particularly if you have a house that was constructed before 1993, I think it was. You can get a free energy audit, and they'll talk to you about this. The basic point of this is that if you are considering what you can do, this is all about cost, but it's all about the same issue, saving energy. If you want to save energy, you don't jump necessarily straight to the installation of solar panels on the roof or wind turbines out in the backyard. You work your way up from the low-hanging fruit, and they start off saying the best thing to do is get an in-home energy audit. Then the next thing up probably is to do things like make energy choices, like don't heat the rooms that you don't spend time in, stuff like that. Change the temperature settings, turn things off, phantom power I mentioned earlier. Next up is go for LEDs, energy efficient fixtures. Weatherizing, sealing, making the house as tight as you possibly can. I'm surprised that's this far up. I would have thought that would down the bottom, but anyhow. Appliances, energy efficient appliances, insulation in the attic, etc. Water heating. Solar water heating is absolutely, Kathy alluded to this, the low-hanging fruit in this whole arena. I personally think it is criminal that anybody should build a building in this decade that does not have solar heated water. It's just berserk. Windows, replacement windows that are efficient, and then once you've done all of this, then you go to solar. Now, the beauty, of course, of our design was, if you'd like a copy of this, just shoot me an email and I can send it to you. The beauty, of course, if you're building is, you factor all of this in, and so you do that as well. Okay? And that's the sunset view from our patio. Not shabby.
No, not shabby.
Okay.
Comment you put the PowerPoint on the website.
Oh, we will be putting the PowerPoint on our website if you're interested in it. And if it's, when I say our website, well, I mean the SOCAN.info website. And if you go to the website, you'll see some tabs along the top. Pick presentations and work your way to it. And if you can't figure out how to get there, send us an email. We should have had that here.
The cards are in the back.
It's business, well, they're not business. Yeah, we got some business cards at the back. Pick one up. Okay, and that's about it. But any questions? Yeah, I'll come back to you, Terry.
Recently, there's been noise about the Internet of Things, in which everything will be connected digitally to all the appliances, everything in the home. And did your design include that? No.
No, we didn't go there. Did we think about that very much? I don't recall thinking about that very much. Maybe we're not
I'm
technologically
not
as
sure
smart
how
as
it
we'd
would
like to
work,
think we are.
but I just wondered.
Yeah.
Well, you can, from a smartphone, you have control and you can go in and change temperatures and look at different things that are in the house so that you don't have to remember to set things before you leave. You can do them from your smartphone.
There's also a problem with that, though, is that anybody that has access to the internet and to your internet system can then go and can control
They
your
can
own
hack it,
house
like
and get access.
Like the NSA can come in. Terry.
Do you know whether that bill that's in the legislature for the utilities buying the surplus power, does that specify anything about the rate at which the utility will buy that power?
What I understood was, with that feed-in tariff, that they are supposed to be, and I haven't seen this bill myself, but it's supposed to be, you get a slightly higher rate than you pay. So you're ahead of the game, I
Oh,
think. Now, what they do in California, and I tried to suggest they might do this in Oregon. In California, if you pump electricity into the grid off-peak, I think
No,
it's-
on-peak.
on-peak, you get more than if you do it off-peak. So the trick there is to not use much yourself during the peak hours and whack it all into the grid.
I
Make it
checked
kill
that
it.
out with the city of Ashley, because we're considering a solar installation for the condominium. And they said, yeah, if net for the year, you've given us more than you've used, we'll buy it, but there is a cap. We will buy it at the lowest wholesale rate at
Yeah.
which we buy electricity, which is not very much.
Well, I think at the moment that with Pacific Power, with the situation we're in, is if we pump into the grid more than we use, then we don't get anything over
So it's-
the net zero, the net exchange.
Oh, okay.
So
That's
it's
why
all-
feed-in
it's
tariff
all
is good.
steps in getting more.
Yeah.
You-
Yeah, sorry.
Did you look at Solar City where they're giving you the panels and leasing them back?
No, we didn't really think about that. We really, and in fact, our Sierra Safari, Alternative Energy Systems Inc. was our solar installer. And he said his attitude was that's not a good deal in the long run. But we didn't really explore it very much.
But I know we went to a program a while back with a system of, that Sierra Club was facilitating for leasing. So I wouldn't eliminate that as an option.
It's potentially a good option if you're sort of on the cusp and you maybe can't afford it, because what you do is essentially get the solar panels for nothing. And then you pay them for the electricity you use. So it could be a benefit. It certainly would help in relation to the greenhouse gas emissions. If you're getting your electricity from whoever owns the solar panels, it's better than getting it from coal-fired power plants.
I want to thank Kathy and, God, my mind went.
Whatever your name is.
Alan,
What's his
I'm having a
face?
senior moment again. Anyway, for this wonderful presentation.
Well,
Anyone else have comments regarding last questions? Okay.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, please don't think we're going to run away.
Thank you. That was very interesting.
Alan, I notice you have one office. Do you and Kathy have a common office?
Yes.
Because one of the things I like about our house is I work in one room and George works in another room.
I understand that.
You know,
We haven't had any fun. As a consequence of
it's
that,
just
I actually thought it was.
there's two left.